from the start. Together
All right. What is going on? Hope everyone's doing well. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Now let me know. I have the noise suppression on because I got my AC cranking. It's been hot out. So let me know. It seems like the noise suppression's working. So, but I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome, welcome. Welcome on in. It's pretty loud on my end, but I'm pretty certain for you guys it should be nice and quiet. So just let me know if I need to shut it off or not. And we're going to be tying some mole crab flies today. So we got the proper materials to tie these mole crab flies. So I'll show you here. I bought 100 box of Gamakatsu one-odds. We got some silly legs that I went ahead and bought, which I'll show you right here. Loco legs in orange. I bought some nice brass eyes that are hot orange. These are the medium for the size 2s. I bought everything for size 2s as well. But these are the size 1 odds with the larger eyes. And then I already had this marabou. So I went ahead and tied a like prototype with this stuff and swam it in the pond to make sure that it swims properly. And it does. So we have the Astaz. I also bought more Astaz. I have my EP fiber. I think that should be enough. If not, I'm pretty certain I have more around here. But I went ahead this morning and tied up all the tail sections. So I have all the lead eyes or brass eyes, the loco legs, and the marabou tied on there already. So I'm pretty much just good to go when it comes to V-tying and the Astaz. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be banging out a bunch of these things and just kind of chit-chatting. I talked to my buddy South Fork Salt, and I was like, yo, if you're ever coming through the area, let me know. I'll drop, I want you to try out some of these mole crabs. The mole sand flea fly that Jin named for us last stream. And he said he was out today and or the other day or whatever, and the bite was hot. So I got to get out and try these myself out on the ocean. Go do some surf fishing. Let me get the camera set up just right. Get that focus nice and set, and I'm probably inevitably going to move this towards me. So we'll make sure this is like that. There we go. That should be comfortable for me. All right. So very simply, I went ahead and cut a bunch of EP fiber ahead of time. And I just cut it into a length to where I'm going to be folding it and V-tying it. So it's very simple. You just take a small amount here. We want enough. Now, all the material is going to be tied on top other than some of the Astaz being wrapped, which I almost forgot. We got to do some Astaz. So this is the secret weapon or the secret trick of it. I thought, what could I do to make this a little different? And we're going to do a wrap of Astaz tied off, and then a V-tie, and then we do the wrap of the Astaz and tie it off. So it's pretty simple. It's nothing too crazy, and this is about the amount of material that we use per tie, which if we kind of pull it or leave it the way it is, you'll see it's probably about like a quarter of a pencil width, maybe even less. And then we just classic V-tie style, we just want to make sure it's even. I do very little trimming when I tie these, so. David Kea Smith, or Kea, how's it going? Aloha, nice to meet you. First time here. Welcome from Hawaii, I'm assuming. Some amazing fly fishing. I'm assuming you do some fly fishing over there. Welcome, welcome. We're glad to have you. What are we talking about? Recently, we had someone else from Hawaii come in here. You do some, what are you doing? You doing bone fishing, trevally? So we're gonna do another wrap here, and I'm assuming you could use this for other flats fish as well. But we have sand fleas here in the surf, in the Atlantic, and the striped bass eat them. So now I actually want to go back. We just want to do one wrap. I forgot. We don't want it to get too cluttered because we still have to do our V-ties in pretty close succession. I have a video on this on my channel called the V-tie crab fly. Very similar to like your classic merkin patterns. Sorry, let me get a drink there. But instead of figure 8 tying or however they tie the merkin nowadays, we V-tie it. And it's just a little bit quicker to tie. And the way the material is tied, it gives us a 3D profile. It also helps flip the fly over. Bonefish, nice. GTs mostly. Yeah, I've never caught a bonefish. I've been to Aruba once and I tried some DIY stuff, but it didn't work out. But I like big aggressive fish and big flies, like streamers, because I'm a striped bass guy. So I would 100% be going for trevally, like you. Because, I don't know how you beat giant trevally fishing. you know? It's kind of hard to beat that. But you tie also nice. Hell yeah. And we love to hear it. You can always feel free. We have a Discord. The link should be down below. If you ever if you have one you feel like sharing some of your flies or fishing photos, we'd love to see it. I used to tie a lot of GT flies for saltwaterflies.com. So that was some of my favorite flies to tie back then were these big 6-odd Gamakatsu SL12Ss. We would tie 4 saddle hackle using the stiff ends and angling the hackle. This is before I learned the Johnny King technique. And then bucktail deceiver style collars, and then a big 3-inch Foxy dubbing brush in the front with 3D eyes glued on. And I tied so many of those, and it was a lot of fun to tie those. And hearing about saltwaterflies.com customers catching giant fish on those things. Most recently, we started getting into tying roosterfish flies for a bunch of guys that go down every year for roosterfish. And these guys were catching, there was one fish that was a couple centimeters away from breaking the world record. So that was pretty cool. Caught on my fly. But a lot of big fish being caught in Baja. So I did a ton of flies for this group of guys and other people as well. So that was cool. So, I don't know. I think we tied, I've been trying to think too. I think I've tied probably about 400 roosterfish flies this year. I just started my flies commercially. I'm on Discord. We'll check it out. Oh, there you go. Sounds awesome. Yeah, I've been commercially tying for a while now. Oh man, I don't even know. It's getting close to 10 years now we've been doing it, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. Like today, I got all these mole crabs half tied, and then I spent part of the day working on my new World War II bolt action army, the U.S. Winter Dudes. So I'm starting a U.S. bolt action army, a new wargaming army. So got to work on flies for half the day, and then spend some of the day working on that. Perks of the job. But as you can see, I've been doing a ton of tying. You can't see all of it, but we got roosterfish style flies for a striper guide. I have a ton of, I got, not a ton, but just like a dozen half and halves, and then like 3 dozen deceivers or so. Or a little over 3 dozen deceivers, like 3.5 dozen. But I gotta tie probably about like 80 of these sand flea flies, because I also want to tie some for the other shop that I tie for. 'Tis the season. So I kind of heavily dress this one a little bit, but we can go ahead and trim it. I'm going to go ahead and use a little less material next time. We do want it to flip over. That is a little much, though, but we'll go ahead and brush this out. And I'll show you if you need to trim it. We can always trim it to give it the 3D profile we're looking for. I mean, that is pretty good, but it's a little heavy on the material. So real quick, I'll show you. Move everything over so I can clean my desk easily. I kind of do like a shape like that for the sand flea. Oh, very cool. We're glad to have you there, David. So I kind of do like a diamond shape to the trim. Yeah, post some photos of some of your flies in there. I'll take a look at the end of the stream. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim it on the top to create a 3D kind of shell or carapace for the sand flea. And ideally, if you tie it with the perfect amount of material at the right length, then you don't need to, but usually I end up doing a little trimming, but I usually try to do the least amount of trimming as possible so I don't waste any material. You don't want too much material on one side either, so you kind of want to make sure it's pretty even. But the main idea is all the material is tied on top, and that little bit of marabou and those rubber legs in the back isn't really, I mean, in reality, a sand flea kind of ends somewhere around here, like this. But I feel like these little rubber legs in the back are just going to, and that little bit of marabou is just going to help kind of possibly like entice a fish into striking. You know what I mean? I'll just take a little bit more off there. I can kind of, you can give it a little look 3D wise what the shell looks like, or the carapace, how we shaped it. But that's pretty much it. Now I'm going to bang a bunch of these out. So we'll tie them and then we'll trim them. Because commercial tying, you should always do it in steps to make it easier. All right. But how's everybody doing? I hope everybody's been having a good week. Oh, that's the other thing. We should do this right now because I'm going to forget. I forgot last stream. We need to pick a winner from our video, our last video, which I was waiting to get the materials for this to make the next video, which is going to be this fly, this pattern, which is somewhat, I mean, I haven't seen any other mole crab flies that are like this with EP material and the stas like this. So I'm going to call it, our mod Jin, I'm going to credit him with the name. We're calling it the mole sand flea fly. So, by LI Flies Mike. So hit me up, Umpaqua. But so we're gonna make this the next video, which I was gonna do, but I had some stuff that came up and this and that. So now I got all the proper materials. I wanted to wait till I got these nice fluorescent eyes and string. But we need to pick a winner from our sand eel surf candy video, which the last video of every month we do a giveaway. So I have the, what do you call it? I have the URL plugged in, and this is a YouTube random comment picker, or pickawinner.co. So include replies. Yes. Allow duplicates. No. No, we don't want replies, I think. We just want the comments. Anything goes. Pick a winner. DW or D.W.5015. Very nice fly. I like your tying. All right, there we go. Let me screenshot this. And I'll make a post on YouTube, like on the post section, tagging this person. I'm gonna need a shipping address. So, all right, congratulations. Round of applause. Jesus, Jared, turn the mic down from the bar a little bit. What are you giving out? Free margaritas? Oh wow, I like it. People are excited. All right, there we go. Before I forget, let me do that because I totally forgot we were supposed to do that at the end of the last stream. Oh, the Estaz. Now the Estaz, I don't know. Is it really that important? I feel like we could have gone with a regular chenille, possibly. I don't know if but I feel like this isn't. Even though it's a flashy Estaz, it's like orange. I'm simulating like essentially the idea is if you've ever seen a sand flea that has eggs, their eggs are orange. So I was like, well, we'll just we'll use a Staz or something because it's like reflecting in the light. That's kind of the whole idea essentially. So we'll see. I don't know, but I think it'll work from my experience doing that style of fishing. I just want to secure that as Staz. And then if I forget, somebody remind me. We'll take a look at the Discord at the end of the stream because it's been a little bit. I think there's been some new flies and stuff people have been posting. So we're going to try to use a little less material this time. If I have anything too long, I'll put that off to the side. So it's definitely less. That kind of seems like an appropriate amount. And I got to remember, we're doing a Staz wrap each time. Because that's kind of the whole spiel or the gimmick of this fly, if you will. I don't know if gimmick's the right word, but I'll use it. It's a gimmick. Yeah, we'll make this one a little sparser. Hopefully we will get away with trimming less is the whole idea. But the V-tie is very simple. We offset it, and then we fold backwards, so we essentially have a parallel tie in the shape of a V, and you tie on top of the material afterwards. Very simple. You've seen me do it a million times if you've ever watched the stream, or you've ever watched probably half of my videos, because it seems like half of my videos use between, the Kinky Muddlers from Johnny Canes, some of my flies, and other people's stuff. It's a very common technique for especially synthetic materials, really in general. It's primarily what you use it for. Again, I'll grab a kind of healthy amount, but not too much. We'll still probably end up doing a little trimming just to get the 3D profile we're looking for. Now, there's something to be said. You don't want too little material because the material on top is going to help not only flip the hook over, but it is going to also, like, you still want this to look like or have a presence in the water, right? The mole crabs, I mean, this is a jumbo mole crab, but at the same idea, our buddy Tim from Southport Salt fishes these giant ones on jigs because that's really as small as he can tie them on a big jig, right? So they're essentially a little bit larger than this, which is, compared to real sand fleas, they never really get that larger. If they do, there are some, right? But it's very rare. But it's more about kind of as best as you can trying to imitate the profile, and then it's really about the presentation. It's about knowing how to present that jig or fly. That's the difference. Timmy knows how to present it, so. If you don't know who I'm talking about, there's South Fork Salt on YouTube and Instagram. And he's an awesome dude. He has some great videos on fly fishing as well as just films of from filming with his drone of different wildlife, marine wildlife here on the ocean. But he's got some good experience fishing for striped bass when they're targeting sand fleas during the summertime. So he knows what he's talking about. So I've been consulting him on this fly. I'm like, what do you think? Does it get the seal of approval? So I had to send him some pond footage. during the summer, I have this little tiny pond in my backyard, like a plastic one, you know. But it's dug in. We have like some aquatic plants and stuff. Um, During the summer, it clears up really well, so I'm gonna start using that for swim tank footage. Because for something like a weighted fly, you can't really get a good accurate representation of what it does when it's in a swim tank, you know. You kind of need to have it in like an environment, like a large enough area you can jig it and stuff like that. Just gonna make sure that's an even amount of material, essentially. And then I always do kind of one really short material one at the end. So let me see here. That's all fairly long. There we go. Here's something that's a little shorter. Because we're kind of tapering off at the end, you know, getting that natural taper. I like that fluorescent orange thread. I think it's just a nice touch. Does the sand flea have fluorescent orange on the front of them? No, not necessarily. But again, it's just these colors that really stick out, that grab a fish's attention in possibly like a couple split seconds that it turns by and sees it. I like the sand flea recipe. I tie mine using mallard feathers coated with Flex UV for the shell. A little different than yours, but I have to try this one. Try one like this. I would love to see a photo of that one, David, because we were just talking about it recently. Somebody was asking about mole crab flies with a mallard flank. So that's interesting that you mention it. Um, and coating the top with UV is pretty interesting as well, because they have that like speckled, you can kind of make it a little bit more durable. I've seen people tie stuff like that without the UV and kind of like a more traditional like pheasant tail sort of crab fly, if you know what I'm talking about. It's in the Discord. Let's take a look. Alan Kaleo has a great book. We were looking at it last stream, I think. And I've seen photos in the past. I didn't see in particular, but oh, beautiful work. Let's take a look. Oh wow, that's cool. I like that. Very interesting squid fly. Unique style. Because you could have just, I mean, honestly, you could have just left it with just this stuff here and it would look great, but I like how you kind of incorporated that on top and bottom. Very cool. I like that. Nice, nice. I dig it. Yeah, bead heads. I like the beads. These are like, some of these flies are like classic sort of stuff that I used to do when I like this. I like it. I like it. These are kind of like almost little woolly buggers, huh? Oh, here we go. Well, you took a terrible photo, but I could see the basics. I like it. So what's underneath the mallard? Oh, wait, you showed it here, right? Is that like a brush? That kind of looks like a brush. Like one of those buggy brushes or something, possibly? Or is it a Staz with a palmered hackle? I like it. I understand. Okay, we'll have to try one. I don't think I have any mallard. I'll have to get some nice mallard. Kind of ultra shrimp, but funky ultra shrimp. I like it. These right here are killer. These are like killer synthetic half and half style flies. Like these would slam straight bass. Those are great. Very cool. I like it. Easy body for for the heads. Interesting. I like it. I like your style. It's very cool. This is what I love about saltwater fly tying. It's like look at the colors and the, you know, and the variation and just the like out of the box sort of stuff, you know what I mean? Like this squid is my favorite I think I've seen. This and the shrimp. I like the shrimp too. That's sick. That looks great. The red, I don't know why. I've never thought of tying a red shrimp. But this squid, I think, takes the cake for me right here. That looks sick. Very cool. I love it. So this is the one I tie. This is the one we're tying now in the pond. So you can see it. It turns over really good. Turns over good. That's the main thing. Is like I want to make sure it turns over every time because it's going to be tumbling around in the surf. So that's why all the material's tied on top, and then we got the dumbbell eyes, right? So that was like the main worry, really. Because in the surf, it could be pretty rough. Cracker roll with some bucktail jigs. I like it. I like it. It's always nice tying your own jigs. Bamboozled with some killer frogs. Just experimental frogs, which you could just like tie it like this. I mean, I like how half the body's like spun deer hair and half foam. That's always really nice. Murano going on a trip for some trout somewhere probably. So you gotta have some woolly buggers to go camping. Bamboozle with a mouse, killer mouse. Gotta love it. Burnt end on the chenille. Gabe with a homemade articulated uh, dive or like a bomber style, but like the wooden bombers from what's it called? Oh, what's the name of the company? Gibbs. I believe that's what it is. So this is what we came up with last week where we were like we got to tie a sand flea. So I ordered materials, but these are the ones that we tied the other week. They're just some stuff for shops. I think we're caught up now. Or this is for a customer of mine. And some catskill. Okay, I don't want to look. I do want to look. What the hell are these? Oh, they're stoneflies. That's what the hell they're called. Yep, we're caught up. And these were sick, by the way, Crag Roll. It's Cactus Chenille and Senno's Shaggy Dub. Oh, okay, interesting. I've never used the Senno's dubbing before. Interesting. So I'll brush them out and trim them all at the end. We'll just tie them right now. Very cool. I like it. I'm gonna have to try one with the pheasant. I think I have some pheasant somewhere. Like somebody gave me a giant bag of pheasant or mallard, I mean, uh, from a duck they shot. So I gotta find that. I think it's in the basement or something. I have so many feathers people have given me over the years, but or I can just ask my buddy. I'm sure he's got a ton of mallard. He's super into duck hunting nowadays. He's probably got a bunch he's saved up. So Astaz, crystal, or yeah. Don't forget the Astaz. I almost forget it every time. You tie a sand flea like that one? We'd love to see it, Craig Roll. Somebody was asking about the mallard last week, so I'm glad we've seen some examples. Because I remember in the past. I mean, I gotta look it up. I don't know if it was an article or it's in one of the books I have from the '90s or early 2000s. But it's not like we're innovating anything here. People have been catching uh, fish on sand flea flies for a while, and some of them are like super, super, super simple. A lot of them I remember used to be like some sort of feather or something, and then some of them were deer hair spun. But I remember in the past seeing some like mallard flanked ones, older style, and I was like, oh man, that's sick. But I was trying to remember, so I'm pretty certain it's very, pretty similar to that. But seeing yours, I'm like, okay, it gives me a little better idea how maybe we should tie one. I was thinking of like palmering hackle mostly, like going old school, but I like the that kind of buggy wrap or something. We can get an EP buggy wrap or also use the chenille, the Astaz, I mean, like we're doing now. Again, the one thing is the flash, right? So I could always, if for some reason the flash might turn them off, we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over in the future to regular chenille, not like cactus chenille or a Astaz, just regular like chenille that you would use for like the mouse tails and stuff like that, but use it in a fluorescent orange. So it's not bright, but we still have that sort of part of the fly pattern, if you will, right? Better pick. Okay, there you go. Nice. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if I even want to coat it. I might just leave the mallard the way it is. I kind of want it to move, or maybe I would do it maybe in this area. But I do like it. I do like it. But I'm thinking if I tie one, I'll probably limit the. We'll see. We'll have to experiment. Is there a reason in particular you went with the resin, flex resin on the carapace with the shell, or is it for durability? Is it for to more better replicate like their harder shells? I'm just curious. We'll see. I'll have to tie a couple different versions. What's going on, Jan? How's it going, man? How you doing? We're tying the fly you named last week. I'm tying a batch for a local fly shop or a local tackle shop here that also sells flies. I'm gonna have to get out and do some fishing though. I got a tip that I should try the mole crab fly out. It's been kind of good, so do a light tie here. Not too much. I gotta figure out what the spacing is. I kind of like having a set amount of ties. Like, all right, I'm gonna do 5 ties, because that time I feel like I tied either one too many or probably one too many, but the equation was off. I feel like on that one, so I gotta try and remember how many ties I used, because I know at the end here we do 2 fairly lighter ones. You can see though how the material adds up pretty quick, so if you don't want to waste it, you can definitely tie it sparser. Just more durability. I like it. I like the idea. I was just thinking how I would have tied mine. Or how, I've been planning. Like, we should tie one. So I'm curious. There's definitely something to doing the resin on top or making a hardened shell, you know what I mean? You could probably make them out of silicone, dude. Do a freaking pop lip style, half pop lip, where the top half's coated in silicone. You could probably just do it with this. But that would be interesting. So it literally is like has like a little gummy feel to it, not too. I don't know how it'd swim. It wouldn't have that it wouldn't have a super stable air pocket like a regular Popovic's pop fly or something. But that could be pretty interesting actually to try and get the profile we're looking for and stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you though, this is nice for commercial tying because it's V ties and it's fairly simple, and I can pretty consistently tie a bunch of these, right? So this is the other thing is like we developed this fly using one of my existing patterns, or just a existing pattern, a V-tie crab fly, and it's very easy to tie them and replicate them in the future. If I don't tie this for a while, let's say that's a very important thing, you know what I mean, in commercial tying, being able to easily tie these patterns again in the future and stuff. So that's something to always consider when you're figuring out how to tie flies or how you're going to be tying flies commercially. It's something to think about. That's something I learned over time is like Yeah, it's great if I tie these one way, but then I'm like, oh, what if, okay, now I can't get these eyes anymore, these dumbbell eyes in that style, so I kind of screwed myself, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm gonna go hit the beach up soon. Gotta see what the best tide would be, I guess. Maybe outgoing, so the water recedes with the waves and then the sand fleas tumble into the troughs. I don't know, we'll have to see. We'll just go with a sinking line or intermediate or something, cast it out there and just dredge this thing. You know what I mean? Let it get washed around. If you tie a jig version and you use a spinning rod, it's like super, super effective. The fly rod as well, but obviously, as always with the fly rod, we're much more limited in our area of like, effective range. So you have to find the fish that are closer because a lot of times the fish are out past breakers and stuff. So you have to find the troughs that are in close. Hey, Paul Bridgers. What's up? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I should just call you Paul, but it's just so convenient to say your full name. I don't know. Your YouTube username. I realize that now when I tie at least 10 at a time of the same fly. That way I have extras. Yeah. Yeah, it's always good to do stuff in batches and then also be able to like replicate them in the future by, knowing you can get that material again or something like that. Has there been times where I've tied really cool flies with stuff that I got because people gave me materials or like I found this at like a show or something, but I was like, man, I can never get the same emu or like ostrich or whatever feathers I used. Yeah, nice thing about this is like pretty much all the materials tied on top as well, other than that little bit of stas wrapped on each turn. So it's very easy for this fly to turn over. I was worried, with the one odd Gamagatu SL12S, these are pretty heavy duty hooks, even in a one odd. So I was a little worried that I bought these over at saltwaterflies.com. So I was like, I wasn't able to see these eyes in person, the size. So it's always a little worrying, but they turned out to be, I think, like the perfect size. So I'm happy with that. Finally, the AC and energy saver shut off. It's been hot. It hasn't been too bad, but it's been pretty hot. Enough so where I got to run this thing. This room faces the sun for most of the day, so gets cooked. So has anyone been doing any fishing? What's everyone been up to? Anything exciting? I so recently I like went to a doctor because I haven't been in a while. And then they were like, all right, well, your blood pressure's a little high. He's like, why don't you go see a cardiologist for fun? I'm like, all right, cool. Because I got a new primary. And then I went and saw this guy. He's like, all right, cool. Yeah, cholesterol's a little high. So why don't you go get a MRI? And I was like, all right, cool. All right, cool. Let's do it. So I went and got an MRI yesterday. And they gave me an IV. And they, uh, gave me some sort of solution. They were like, all right, it's going to feel warm and you're going to feel like you're going to piss yourself. Don't worry, you're not going to, but it's going to feel like you are or whatever. And essentially it opens up like all of your arteries and your veins and everything so they can get like a better picture of that. And I guess the whole idea is they want to see if like there's any like plaque or anything built up. So my doctor's like, no more cheese. All right, maybe as a treat you can have it, but cut out the cheese. I'm like, all right, you got me there, and this and that. But so I went and did that. That was a pretty interesting experience, being in that machine and stuff. I've never done anything like that. But so I guess we'll see what the deal is. But yeah, when I got home, they also give you nitroglycerin as well. So they put it underneath your tongue. I was like, nitroglycerin. I was like, isn't that? I'm like TNT, you know? Which I forgot that nitroglycerin is like some sort of medicinal thing as well. Uh, as like in another substance they use it for, like used to use it as explosives in like old timey Western, you know what I mean, or whatever. But I'm pretty certain, right? Isn't that the same stuff, nitroglycerin? Right? And like TNT or something? But when I got home, oh my god! Like first off, I was supposed to fast, so I didn't end up eating anything. I didn't have any caffeine as well. I usually drink 2 cups of coffee every day. And by the time I got home, after I don't know if it was the stuff they gave me or what, but dude, I had a freaking like I haven't had a proper migraine in a long time, but like my head was killing me so bad I had to lay down. Like I could barely like my eyes were all screwed up, and I ended up freaking throwing up too. So, but I think I just like didn't eat much throughout the day, obviously because I had to fast beforehand. It was later in the day or whatever. So, but yeah, that was interesting. It could have been that they said that you're gonna get a headache. Some people could get a bad headache from the I think it was like the nitroglycerin or something. So yeah, so that was interesting. It was an experience. I almost started laughing in the middle of it. Like you're supposed to sit really still, but I felt like I was in some sort of sci-fi like show, like in a device. They're like, "All right, we're gonna beam you up, Scotty." It was like it started building up like the magnets inside the MRI machine or whatever. Started going like super hyper mode, And I was like starting to giggle. And it was like, stop breathing. Because you're supposed to stop breathing for like 8 seconds while it's like scanning you. And then they'll tell you to start breathing again. And I almost started like breaking out laughing. Because it was just like, I don't know. I was like picturing I was like in some Star Trek machine or something. But they probably would have been pissed if if I like ruined the test. Because they were like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, oh, I should, I'm just thinking about, it's like a sci-fi machine. But that was pretty interesting. I haven't been in a hospital really much, or pretty much at all, except when I was a kid when I like broke my foot or something. So it's been a long time. So they like wheeled me around in like a wheelchair and stuff in a gown. So it's like, it's pretty interesting experience to say the least. So we'll see what the deal is. Probably gotta start watching what I eat a little bit more. And I'm pretty fit, I'm like 172, 3 pounds or something like that. Uh, I'm not overweight or anything, but it's definitely I think some dietary stuff I could clean up on my end and probably stop smoking tobacco. But yeah, it's like a trip, like a transporter. So many people are getting those. Yeah. Well, they're like, hey, you know what? Your healthcare will cover it, and it's a good idea. You know what I mean? You haven't been to the doctors in forever, and this and that. Let's get you checked out. So I was like, oh, you know what? Sounds good. So, anyways, that was interesting. So I was gonna get a bunch of fly tying done, but I ended up feeling like I was dying yesterday. But anyways, that's what I've been up to. Other than tying a bunch of stuff for shops, I've been waiting for materials. I got a good amount of hooks coming from Lure Parts Online that I'm also waiting for. The person who owns the tackle shop that ordered these flies also then texted me a couple days after, was like, listen, I want like, they were like, all right, I want give me like 300 sand eel teasers or something crazy. I'm like, all right. There's like 200, 300 sand eel teasers for spin fishing for the fall, because he ordered a bunch last year and I had to like do them in a rush. So I have a ton of Mustad 34007 4-aught non-fly hooks, just the regular Mustad hooks, which are really good teaser hook that I ended up tying. But I was buying them in like smaller packs for more money at a local place. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna buy them from Lure Parts Online. Lure Parts Online is a pretty good price for a lot of stuff. They don't have a wide variety. I mean, they have a pretty good variety of materials, but I would still like most of the stuff I get is from saltwaterflies.com. But some of the hooks I can't find or whatnot, or I can find larger pack sizes. Different compound? Oh, okay. Is it? It's trinitro toluene. Okay, I just remember hearing them being like, "That's the nitroglycerin" or something like that, and it would be like in a like, "Don't shake the bottles of nitroglycerin." It's like, or maybe it was different, or maybe they just I just misinterpreted it as a kid watching like Western movies or the dumb '90s movies, what they were saying. But that makes sense. I thought it was like it's multi-purpose. Like not only can you blow stuff up with it, but you can also put it under your tongue and it'll do something to you. Whatever it did, I forgot what that was. The nitroglycerin, what it did, but did something. They're like, all right, that's gonna burn. You're gonna you might get a headache. I'm like, all right, that sounds fun. An interesting, different compound. Yeah, man, it was wild. Definitely wild. I was buying from my local shop too, but too expensive. I went directly to Mustad website and ordered in bulk. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, unfortunately, I was getting a lot of material from a local place, and then I also tie flies for them. So I got to tie a bunch of stuff, but helps open the arteries up. Okay, so then yeah, definitely. Oh, then maybe what they put in me with the solution, it was the dye. That's what it was. The stuff that felt hot or something that made me feel like I was gonna pee. I think it was like a dye, or maybe the nitroglycerin made me. I forgot what it was. But I think what the IV was, they put a dye in me, so that when they do the MRI, they can see your arteries or something like that. They can like see if there's blockage from the inside. Um, but yes, what do you call it? I'll have to check out for Mustad directly though. That's interesting. Yo, Doc, what's going on, man? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Smart guy. You are right though. Nitroglycerin is also a powerful explosive. Well, there you go. Nitroglycerin is. I told you. He's like a dude, some old timey Coot Jenkins, who travels through time interdimensionally and also was a gold miner. Used to use nitroglycerin, and he had it in very fragile bottles with little skull and X symbols. And if you shook it too much, he's like, "Oh, don't shake it too much, because it'll explode. I put it in these very extremely fragile bottles." You know what I mean? That's a D&D character I had, by the way, who was also a real Savage Worlds, which is another role-playing game character from that setting that I stole for my D&D character, Coot Jenkins, which was inspired. The character was inspired by Will Ferrell, who did the the gold miner, the gold panner dude, who's like, they're like, all right, it was like a skit where it's like a U.S. Army platoon or something, and they're like, all right, you boys getting ready? And they're like, who's this old guy? And it was some old gold miner, and it was Will Ferrell, and I forgot what his name was, but he's like, I'm the old gold mining guy. I'm gonna show you how to get up that mountain or something. They're like, what? This is ridiculous. Isn't that what's in Dynamite? That's what I thought. I thought Dynamite, though, might be different. But maybe Dynamite is a mix of stuff. I don't know. I just remember old-timey, like, some dude shaking, and they're like, don't blow up the nitroglycerin. It might have been in video games, is where I'm getting this from. probably like some video game stuff. And I feel like it was in a movie. But what's going on, Rev? How you doing? Gadolinium is the stuff in the IV they give you. Ah, it's a chemical agent, specifically a rare earth mineral. Oh yeah, so they told me I also need to pee as well, or like pee as much as I can because it's going to be in my kidneys, this stuff. Symbol GD, atomic number 64. It's a silvery white malleable ductile metal. While it's heavy metal and toxic in elemental form, when bound to chelating agents, it's used as contrast agent in magnetic resonance imaging. Oh wow. So okay, that's interesting. I'm like, yeah, just load me up. Put whatever you want in there. Yeah, it stays in your system. Yeah, they were like, you need to drink a ton and you need to pee as much as you can because it'll be in your, it's going to get stored in your kidneys or something. I'm like, all right, you got it. Roger. Interesting. I mean, you're so freaking knowledgeable. What are you, like a nurse or something? Drink plenty of water, yeah. Are the Poland Spring seltzers okay? There's like nothing, no sugar, no nothing. I think that's all right. I'm slamming these suckers. Yeah, it's when it gets old, it's unstable. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rev knows he was the he was the dungeon master that was like, I'm crafting TNT with my old timey interdimensional Coot Jenkins guy. So I'm sure you either researched or through your own knowledgeable of Western dynamite knowledge informed us it was unstable from, I think it's moisture is what happens. Something with moisture in the dynamite. If you go into like real mines, that were, some sort of ore mine or something, you find old dynamite, you have to be very careful because it's like extremely unstable because the elements or something. So you can't like be like kicking rocks around and stuff. Will Smith told you? Yeah, there you go. Wiki Wild Wild West. You learned that from Wild Wild West? uh... Ridiculous. How are we looking? By the way, yell at me if we ever go out of focus. Let me zoom back a little bit. We can zoom out a little. Give me a little leeway. A little wiggle room. Yeah, so what else did I get? I'll show you guys real quick. Because it's fun. For me, this is like everyday stuff. But it's always nice when we get a bunch of materials and we got a bunch of eyes in different sizes because you can't go wrong with this stuff. Tons and tons of Supreme hair for surf candies because I have a ton of these to tie. You can see browns, tans, whites, pinks, right? All the usual. Crystal Flash as well. I got dumbbell eyes for Clousers, which I got the hooks coming for, right? And then also, I didn't have this color, and the guy I'm tying a bunch of these roosterfish style flies for wants browns in particular, so got some of that. Just to show you when I ordered a bunch of this stuff. Just ask Wile E. Coyote. That stuff packs a punch. There you go. Yep, good old Wile E. Coyote. So Wile E. Coyote was the one that would be chasing the Roadrunner, right? And the Roadrunner would just blow him up with like... I used to watch that specific cartoon, which we had like old Warner Brother like VHS tapes where they had like the shows on like the original, like, you'd see the like effect from the screen on there from the like old original shows or something. They just put it on VHS. I wonder if we still have all those. Gonna have to look. Those would be cool just to have the original Warner Brothers stuff. Good old Wile E. Coyote. Yeah, so again, I mean, these are super simple. Super simple. If I wasn't streaming, we probably already would have a dozen tied by now, but when I stream, I always end up chit-chatting and getting sidetracked. But very quick, the Astaz does add an extra step. We probably could have just like, I don't know. But you know what? It's what sets it, it's what sets it apart from other kind of mole crab patterns and stuff. We were looking to be semi-original on this one, so I think it adds a little bit of something to it. Oh man, I gotta stretch my back real quick. We're we're almost due for a hookah lounge break, so I can stretch it up. I think devil's sauce is made with Tulane. I don't even know, or Tulian. I don't even know what that is. Is that an explosive that you can also make sauces out of? Your vice is purple too. What sort of vice you got? Tulane. I better not end up on a list. Is a clear, colorless liquid. Oh wow, this is crazy shit. Yeah, it seems like you don't want to mess with this stuff. Apparently, you can abuse it as well by sniffing it, which is not good. So don't do that stuff. Renzetti Traveler. Interesting. I didn't know they make them. Did you get it powder coated or was it powder coated? I didn't know they make them powder coated or they make them in colors. Very explosive. Is devil sauce like a hot sauce and you're making a joke, or is it like an actual? It's like imagine making a hot sauce, but like we put in explosives. We put nitroglycerin in a hot sauce so the chili pepper can go through your heart more easily and cause cardiac arrest. We paired it with 18 ghost peppers. Interesting. All limited edition. Hell yeah. Well, luckily, this is or unluckily, this is a limited edition color as well. But luckily, uh, we know the owner of Regal, and he built this for me and just made a replacement for us recently. So shout out to Don at Regal. I still haven't sent my old Vice set. I need to, but I've been waiting to get some time. I probably should do this. I gotta tie a bunch of flies for the people at Regal because they made this for free. And the owner made this for me. So, and I've a little free marketing for them, which is nice. But it also is a unbelievable gift that I've gotten. So I want to give the owner, and I told them the people there at Regal to like split it up. So I'm gonna tie a bunch of flies for them, and they can he can hand it out to the people at Regal that fly fish. So I got to do that. I should do that. We had some charity flies that we tied recently, which sold. I was hoping to get a little bit more money for the local wildlife refuge, but we got like $85 for a dozen surf candies. They did like a auction, so that's good. I was hoping to raise a little bit more for them, but I found out they do it online, so I'm gonna share it on Instagram next year. So maybe raise a little bit more money for this local wildlife refuge. They have a huge plot of land that is completely untouched and preserved, and people can go and walk there, and they do summer programs for kids and stuff. So my Vice was gifted to me also from one of my subscribers. Hell yeah, that's the way to do it, baby. That being said, go out and buy some Rico Vices, all right, guys, because they've helped me out a lot. So. So let's look. We got half a dozen done out of the 20. The 20 hooks I have here. Let's get. Let's tie another one or two before I take a break, so I can. I'm always like I get a little antsy after sitting around for a while. I can't sit in my chair for more than an hour and a half before I'm like, all right, I gotta get up and move around a little bit because my back. So you said subscribe. Do you also make YouTube videos? I'll have to subscribe to you. Let me give you a look here. Okay, very nice. Ugly Flies Big Eye.etsy.co. Cool. In case you guys are wondering, shout out. Give it a check. Done some live streams too? Hell yeah. We got to get some more videos going though. I can't say nothing because I haven't made a video in a week or two, so I was pumping out 3 to 4 videos a month, and then I got super tied up with work because now it's the season. No, devil sauce is fly tying adhesive that used to be very common but extremely toxic. I think they still sell it at campsite. Do they? You know, what was a material? I've never heard of devil sauce, by the way. That's interesting. Um, and it sounds like old school too, because it used to be common, but I don't remember it. I feel like maybe but I just never used it. I'm trying to think. So that makes me think of is the most famous one for me is what is it? Flex Seal or whatever? Yeah, Flex Seal. What David Skoke used to use for his mush mouths. And I was using that stuff, and I was like always using it. I'm like, I spilled a bottle in my room once as a kid, and dude, the smell of this stuff is so strong. We probably lost so many brain cells, me and my friend. They were like 10, 12 years old. That stuff was so toxic. Apparently, David Skoke stopped tying mushmouths commercially because the using that stuff was like, he was like, I'm gonna die if I keep using this stuff. It was so bad, the Flex Seal. So I have people that are like, oh, they ask me to tie flies and they talk about the Flux Seal and like, guides and stuff too. They're like, oh, maybe you could use. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna use UV resin or something, or I'm gonna use Liquid Seal. I mean, not Liquid Seal. I'm gonna use Liquid Fusion or something because I refuse to use Flux Seal or whatever because that stuff is so toxic. I believe that's the name, right? Flux Seal. Am I thinking of the right one? That was it was in a round jar with a big black cap like that. That stuff, the smell of it was so bad. And talking to Chris Windrum from saltwaterflies.com, he told me about David Skoke, and he was like, David Skoke's like, I'm never using this stuff again. So bad for you. Yeah, that's exactly it. I used to be a mechanic, David. And unfortunately, I had, these back issues. I'm not very old either. I'm only 34 now, but when I started tying, it was probably like, I was like probably 25, 26. Mechanic full time for like 5-6 years, and I was like, I've always tied and tied commercially for some shops, but I started being more present on Instagram and people reaching out to me wanting to buy flies because my surf candies and for albies and stuff. And it kind of went from there, I was like, okay, well, I can start selling flies, cool. And then I got in touch with some companies and started doing it for some businesses. And then I was like, I can't do this mechanic stuff anymore because my back is so screwed up. So doing giant Jeep tires and alignments all day, and I was like, my back was getting blown out. I was miserable. So sounds like we're pretty similar. Yeah. Now, if you hit the hookah lounge all the time and you played Blood Angels, I'd be like, get the hell out of here because you're my Hawaiian doppelganger or something. Like Les Pauls or something, or there's too we can't have too many similarities. You switch to Liquid Fusion. Liquid Fusion's fantastic. Shout out to Liquid Fusion. Uh, Johnny King converted me to liquid fusion for a lot of stuff. And now, whenever I glue 3D eyes on a fly, I always coat the head or coat the eyes with liquid fusion around the material. It makes it so much more durable than just using the E6000 or whatever you're using. So shout out to Johnny Kane's awesome dude, awesome tire. Also had a couple nice, like we had a little conversation, not even conversation, but he's a really nice guy. Because there were some guides that were looking for flies, but some of the commercially tied ones they weren't able to get and stuff. So he was like, hey, softer. 35 years of construction, 10 years of building fiberglass boats and surfboards. Oh, yeah. I can imagine what I always see, I've watched, surfing's huge out here on Long Island, and I've seen like people building surfboards and stuff. And I feel like they're always bending over, like when they're shaping the board and stuff. Checking out. Unfortunately, I can't fish as much as I used to either. That's why I really gotta get my boat working because freaking what do you call it? Uh Last year in the surf, oh dude, the surf was killing my back last year. I also bought a really cheap pair of waders, but now I have like my nice neoprenes again that I use commercial fishing or clamming. But dude, the surf, I couldn't fish the surf more than 3 or 4 hours before my back was just absolutely destroyed. I was having a really hard time fishing the surf last year because it's so uneven, like our sandy beaches here. And you gotta walk a lot, So I was like, screw it, I'm getting my 4x4 permit, but then like my truck was getting all beat up, so I'm probably gonna avoid driving on the beach. And just hike it out. I gotta get a comfortable pair of waders or something. So I use insoles, like for instance, when we were clamming, I was using these insoles in my waders. They're pretty good. You can get like some like Dr. Scholl's insoles and actually put them in your waders, and they're pretty nice. That's a nice little tip. I need to probably get a new pair for my other waders. But still, I mean, it's tough walking on the beach. It really is. Just like you end up hiking for a long time, you know what I mean? Looking for fish. So if I had like a newer truck or something, that'd be one thing. But my old Suburban, man, I don't want that. I almost got stuck a couple times out there. It's a big, heavy truck. And we got really soft, sandy beaches, you know what I mean? Big, big, heavy truck. Suburban. All right. Well, let's take a quick little break here. I'll go grab a drink and stretch my back out real quick. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these tied. Yeah, I didn't plan to get all of them tied, but we're kind of just hanging out, chit chatting, and whatnot, tying some of these mole crabs. We'll keep tying these for a bit, and then probably do some trimming near the end, and we'll see. We'll just hang out and chit chat. Near the end of the stream, though, I'm gonna show you guys my my bolt action World War II minis because I'm too much of a nerd. So, hey David, thanks for hanging out. We're glad to have you, and welcome to the Discord and stuff. We look forward to seeing you in the future in the stream. So thanks again, man. Have an awesome night. Yeah. Speaking of which, I gotta grab let me grab a fresh seltzer or something, so I can flush out this nuclear waste they put in me. All right, we'll take a quick break here, and we'll tie some more mole flies when I get more mole sandfly flies when I get back. tight. Stay tight, all right? Yep, keep it tight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Aiden. Knuckle buster. Are you good? Do you need me to do anything?
Yeah, I might need a ride. Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna turn now.
I'm gonna try and get on the valve.
Yeah, get on the valve. All right, you're doing good. Keep doing your thing. I'm gonna move us away.
Is that a little one?
No, that's a nice one.
Oh, let's go!
Come here, hold next to your alley. Good job.
That's sick.
All right. Nice.
Let's go! Albie slap!
Good job, dude.
Yee!
Looking down the barrel of a 12 gauge little tuny, bro. On the alley door too.
Oh my god, dude! What the fuck? Woohoo! Oh my god. Yep. Oh my god!
I gotta turn the boat so I can cast. Oh my god, dude! Alright, get back to catching him, Diego. Frigates.
Albie?
Frigates.
Frigate.
Well, real quick, I was scrolling through my Instagram while I was in the hookah lounge. Check this out. This is Dave Z51. This is an awesome dude, Dave, who I met albie fishing years ago. Dude fishes on the island, but look at this. Consistent mole crab bite, he says. Look at that fish. Beautiful looking fish on mole crabs. Shout out to Dave. Dave Z51. He's a cool dude. Seen him at some fly shows, but I met him albie fishing on the rocks one year. So, I guess we're on the right way. It's a good time we're tying the mole crabs. We got to get these things done for these shops, and I got to go out and do some fishing myself, so. We'll see. It's going to be the weekend, so I don't know. I guess we'll see. There's going to be a lot of people, is the thing. I should probably go on, like, Monday and go fish during the week. But apparently it's kind of hot right now, so we'll see. I mean, I'm sure they'll still be eating mole crabs on Monday, but maybe the tide's lining up or something. We'll see. The only problem is there's so many people on the beaches during the weekend out here. Especially by me, it's a lot easier access than if you're out east. Even out east, you get a ton of people as well. All right, continuing our mole crabs. I guess, you know, we gotta pump them out. The people need mole crab flies. Somebody's got a time. I'll do it, I guess. It's fine by me. I'll tell him. I'll make sure that he knows the name too. It's like the Spanish sauce, mole. Mole. It's the mole crab fly, named by Sir Jin. I'll make sure it's known. You know what I mean? Put respect on it. Oops, something happened here. The hairs got pulled uneven. Let's retie that. Fun little thing, too. I was playing some DayZ recently. I actually hopped back in after a long time. Met some random younger dude from Spain, and I was like, hey, I found a car if you want to get gas. And he's like, oh, you're so nice, thank you for not shooting me. And then we like linked up with all of his buddies, and we were driving the car in in the day one Chinar server, and like we killed a bunch of people and stuff. It was awesome. I haven't had a DayZ adventure in a while, so I only played once, but I was like sick. We had a really cool adventure on the day one servers with some like crazy un-Spanish kids from Spain. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a good time. I haven't been gaming much, but what I did do is fix my computer. That was really, I've been kind of testing my PC out, so I was having issues. I was a little worried that I was going to be editing a video and have it like lose all my footage because it was randomly restarting, so I added a terabyte of SSD, another terabyte storage, but the main thing was I replaced my RAM with from 16 to 32 because I think my RAM, I was having issues with the RAM. Something was going on. I don't think it's the CPU, but so I got that all cleared up. I'm ready to start making some videos again. It was really annoying. I was trying to diagnose troubleshoot the issue, which I'm not super well versed in computers. I've had to learn over the years from streaming and stuff, like troubleshooting issues. But I'm still not like a freaking tech wizard, like a tech priest from the Mechanicus or something, so it can be a little tricky at times figuring out what the hell is going on. It's always a good idea to like start with temperatures and look at the CPU usage and the GPU usage and stuff, but seems like I fixed it, knock on wood, so. The Albie Blitz video never gets old? Oh, man. I mean, it's literally the only highlight. Like, I gotta make a new one with swim tank footage because I have a ton of swim tank footage from the fly time video, so I've been meaning to do that. But that is still one of my favorite edits I've ever made. It's so good. That slow-mo footage from my buddy Jeff, where the albies are blitzing right in front of him on his GoPro, it's such good footage. It's like top tier footage. It like hits the albie itch every time watching it. Now the worst part is I haven't caught an albie in 2-3 years now. We've had terrible albie fishing locally. Even for anyone in boats, it's been like one day they show up and they're like, they won't eat. So, I don't know. I'm hoping that turns around. But 5-6 years ago when we were shooting all that footage, man, it was like the golden age of albie fishing here where I live. It was so good for like 3, 4, 5 years. You could go to the rocks every day and you could catch like 5, 6 fish. You know, it was wild. So, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully we get a rebound. Hopefully it's something cyclical. We are seeing more bonito. So, are bonito making a comeback? In the past, it was all bonito. One year, I mean, and over the time, like bonito started fading out, and then these new fish showed up here out north, and it was false albacore. So from reading all the fly fishing books like Lou Tabor, it was all bonito in the past, and albies would show up, but they weren't that present. And then at some point, they started taking over, and the bonito fishery really died. I think they got overfished or something. But now we're seeing a resurgence in bonitos, and we started seeing them in really small sizes, like a quarter of a pound, half a pound bonito. But now we're starting to see a larger bonito, which they get up in Massachusetts and stuff. We're starting to see them further south in Long Island. So I'm curious if the bonito fishery is going to surpass the albie fishery. Like, are we going to go back to what it was like in the 80s when albies weren't really a thing, but it was all big bonito? That's what they were fishing for up here. Reading the books, at least. So I'm curious, like, what's the deal with that? You know? So we'll see what the deal is. I would love to start catching giant bonito. I've only caught them up to like a pound. You know what I mean? They taste freaking amazing. I ate I ate a one of the older gentlemen next to me who was fly fishing as well, but he was using the spinning rod because it's tough to fly fish for hours. You know, especially when you get older. A lot of these guys will bring spinning rods as well, and I don't knock them for that. Any young guys I see doing that, I start ripping them up. I'm like, you quitter. Well, the old guys, I don't give flack. So I'll be hanging out with these like old retired like cops and firefighters on the jetty, and they're all like smoking cigars, fly fishing or whatever. But one dude like deep hooked a bonito, and it wasn't even that big. It was a pound and a half, something like that. And there was no, we checked and stuff. There was no like size regulation or something for him. So he's like, here, I mean, it's dead, unfortunately. He's like, you want to eat it? They're delicious. I'm like, yeah, what do I do? He's like, just cut it out, eat it. I'm like, I can eat it like sashimi. He's like, hell yeah. So I went home and pretty much just cut it up and just ate it like sashimi, raw and with soy sauce. It was so good. And I know some people say you can eat the albies. That's sacrilegious, all right? We don't allow that nonsense talk around here, okay? How dare you? Leave the albies alone, all right? But I might eat a bonito. They're good. They had to come out with that damn article about bleeding albies and eating them. You know, I wonder if like 2 years after that article, that's why we don't see any albies anymore. Everyone's like, hey, honey, you want to eat some sashimi? They like bleed the albie. They don't know how to do it properly. And they cut it up, and their wife's like, oh my God, they throw it in the garbage, you know? I'm sure that's not it, but that would be a funny, like if the FFBI was still around or something, you know? Throw some, you know, make a little joke about it on the water or something in that article. I think the FFBI got reported. Fly Fishing Bureau of Investigations. They were like a meme account. Some people took it a little, you know, they were like getting butthurt that they were getting memed on, which you got to embrace it. You know what I mean? They dry those out and make bonito flakes. Yeah, I think they use bonito flakes for seasoning, right? If I'm not wrong. I'm pretty certain I don't know if they're Atlantic bonito like the ones we have, but yeah, I'm pretty certain that's like the same thing. I'm pretty certain they use bonito flakes in like Asian food, right? Is that where bonito flakes come from? I'm pretty certain, like Japanese or something, or Chinese or something like that. I feel like, because I worked in a freaking Asian fusion restaurant when I was a kid. It was definitely child labor with how much this dude had me working. I remember the owner, there were two owners. There was one owner was named Tony, he was Chinese. The other owner was named Tony, he was Italian. But I remember it was like I worked all summer every day as a busboy, double shifts over the weekends, and probably for like barely any money too. But I was getting like half off on sushi, and I was getting free Chinese food. I was like staying after work with all the Chinese people that didn't speak any English whatsoever, and like they would bring out giant plates of food, and everyone would just get like scoops from those plates. I was like hanging out with all these people, and I was like the only white person working there, other than like the hostess. And when school started back up, Tony, the Chinese one who was like the main guy running the place, he's like, why didn't you show up? I'm like, what do you mean? I had to go to school. I was like 13, 14, or it was like 14, 15 at the time. Something like 13 or 14. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, you got to go to work. I'm like, what are you, Tony? What are you talking about? I'm a child. I got to go to school. I'm like, I'm in middle school. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, 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 no. You come work. You come work. And I'm like, no, nope, we're done. GG. Thank you. But he was trying to get me to like, he was in like a, he was trying to get me to stop going to school so I could keep. I was like the number one busboy in that place. I tell you what though, they loved me. But I'll never forget. He showed up. It was outside Rev's house, my buddy Rev, outside his house, because we were all skateboarding back then. He's like, "You gotta come to work." Oh God, I'll never forget that. He was like so pissed off that I was going to school. Oh God. I tell you what though, I made enough money. I bought a laptop on my own. A Dell laptop back then in the early to mid 2000s. And I bought myself a American Fender Strat. So that's something. That's something. I later sold that guitar, and my dad brought it to France, but that's okay. I ended up getting. We have more Strats, and I have my beautiful Les Paul. So still kind of wish I kept that thing, but that's all right. I kind of like the Mexican version we have anyway, or this. I think it is an American version. The one that I always forget. It's a nice one. It wasn't a standard, the one my dad got, that you've seen me play on stream many times, but I do love that guitar. I think it is an American, but it's like the cheaper version. It's not like a standard Strat. Yo, what's going on, Brandon? How you doing? Should have dropped out. Yeah, dude, I'd be like a full-time cook at that Asian fusion place. I'd have first off, dude, this is something. If you ever worked in a Chinese food place, those woks are so incredibly hot. All right? Like I'm talking about danger hot, right? So every single chef there had these freaking burns, these giant burns, like almost like a boil, dude, from the oil. They were like impervious to it. I watched these dudes getting oil splashed on their arms from the woks, and they didn't even flinch. I was walking through the kitchen. I remember working there as a kid, walking through that kitchen, and like it would be like explosions from the woks. They were so hot. I remember seeing that though, and those guys were getting burned like crazy. Like they had the craziest burns on their arms. They didn't even flinch. I was like, I could never even. It was terrifying walking past the woks. Imagine the intro to Warriors of Virtue. What? Isn't that the one where he goes through the water and there were a bunch of those like it was where there were those weird like anamorph people that were all doing kung fu or something. You've been tying in the background while I played sous chef for my Soul Partners delicious Thai shrimp curry. Oh man, that sounds great. That sounds delicious. My dad made a couple simple burgers today. No cheese. Had to keep the cheese off. I felt like putting cheese on there so bad, but I'm trying to be a responsible patient for my cardiologist, so we'll see if it makes a difference. Yeah, it sounds delicious. I don't remember a freaking Chinese food scene from Warriors of Virtue, but your memory is much better than mine. All I remember is that kid gets bullied and he falls into a cyclone of water, and then he ends up in like with those kung fu thing guys or whatever. I used to think that movie was so cool when I was a kid. I was like, whoa, I want to go train with those weird kangaroo guys. They were kangaroos, right? Weren't they like kangaroo people or some shit? They were definitely like kangaroos or something. Whether they were meant to be or not, that's definitely what they like. They had to use something as a reference to make those humanoids. Pull it up now? No, I'm not gonna pull it up. I'll pull it. I'll find it at some point. I'm gonna end up getting copy striked by the freaking Soldiers of Virtue kangaroo people. Because the Chinese food scene from Soldiers of Virtue will get the first copyright strike on the channel. You're going to Monomoy Rips on Tuesday with hopes of hooking the first striper of the season. Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. Well, hey, we tie up a couple mole crabs. You know what they say. It's mole crab time. So I wonder if all the mole crabs are like spawning right now or there's just a ton of them. They're super active. Maybe it's like the time of year where they've like, there's the most of them hatched or something, you know, and they're like largest population because apparently the mole crab bite's going nuts right now out in the ocean. I'm sure. I mean, Monomoy flats are different, but they're offshore flats, aren't they? Like, there's probably still sand fleas. Like one. Always one wrap when we're V-tying around. No, there's mackerel. Oh yeah, I've seen apparently even in the I think in Montauk the little mackerel, the Tinker Max or something are showing up. They've been blitzing all over the place. They look like little bonito almost. Or I don't know if they're the Tinker, they're the chub mackerels, the ones that I was using for shark bait that also are pretty fun to catch on a fly rod at the same time. Oh man. Hey, Kin Louie, thank you for the follow 3 minutes ago. Appreciate that. Kin Louie the 7th, by the way. It's important to denote which Kin Louie. There were a lot of them. If I'm not wrong, that is. Pretty certain. There had to at least be a couple. You know what I mean? So, Rev, what did you end up printing out for your bolt action? It didn't come out good, though, you were saying? What did you try? Some Soviet tanks or something? So, of course, we get into bolt action, or because there's this new game, Conflict 47, or they're doing a new edition, which is like kind of like, imagine if World War II, that because they tested nuclear weapons, like a rift opens up, and then like a crazy like technology and weird stuff from another dimension happens, and it's like 1947, but World War II is still going on, and now there's interdimensional demons involved or something, or technology, you know? But they have a game called Bolt Action, which is a historical World War II game, and they use the minis for both. So I was like, you know what? Okay, maybe we'll take a look at Bolt Action, because Rev was talking to me about, you know, asking if I wanted to get into it. And I was like, you know, I don't know, it's real life or whatever. But then I started looking, and I was like, dude, I've always loved, learning about World War II and Battle of the Bulge or the Ardennes and all these, just learning about it was, that sort of stuff has always intrigued me, learning about it in high school and college and stuff like that, history. And so I was taking a look at the American stuff because if I'm gonna, we gotta stay true, red, white, and blue, baby, But I was like, the price, it's like $30-$40 and you get like 30-40 miniatures compared to like GW pricing where it's like 5 guys for $50 or something. So I said, screw it, let's do it. So I got a winter time, like this is like the Ardennes or like a Battle of the Bulge, late war, wintertime U.S. Army fighting in like, Belgium or something. So I got like a Sherman M18 Hellcat, machine gun squads, mortar squads, rifleman platoon. And I was trying to figure out, I know I have some paratroopers that I 3D printed. I can either do the 82nd Company or the 101st Company, which is like the Band of Brothers guys that were involved in what do you call it? In the Battle of the Bulge and all that. And I was trying to figure out like what for the regular infantry, whether they're the First Army, because there was the First Army and then there was like which in the First Army in the 506th Division or something is where the 101st Company or something, Easy Company is. So I was like doing research into it because I've always loved World War II. So now I'm like, oh, learning about like the airborne and how the U.S. airborne got started in World War II, and it was like the secret thing, and they like had like all these people and they weeded it out. So it's been really fun to actually, because I've always loved this sort of stuff. But of course, Rev gets the Soviets, and I get the Americans. I'm like, what the hell? Well, now we can't. We never fought each other, but luckily it's a war game. You can do whatever you want, so we can still do it. But we'll just say that, of course, the Red Army, maybe overstepped their bounds a little bit, so General Patton had to put them in their place, But it's been really cool to learn about stuff. It's been giving me a good excuse to dive back into. That's how I'm getting older, right? I saw memes recently. It was about guys in their 40s, and it was like World War II documentaries, and the guy's like, like on Instagram. It's pretty true. I'm getting close to 40 now. It's only going to be 6 years. So I'm getting in early. Now I'm doing historical war gaming. Next up, we'll be doing Napoleonic era, and we'll be our hair will be turning gray. My trip to LI didn't come through. Hopefully we can. Oh yeah, I forgot you were gonna be possibly coming out at some point. Hey, Jen, you can call me and be like, hey, I'll be out there in 2 hours, and I'll be like, all right, cool. Maybe give me a day's notice. But you got some T-34s and 85s, very cool, and some Zis 3s. So what was it? Just they didn't come out as the print quality didn't come out as good as the rhinos, the Chaos rhinos you printed. So we got Rev. If you got, I've been 3D printing with a resin printer for years now, but they had a sale, and I know Rev's not gonna be able to resin print because you need it's like a hazmat suit situation. It's like highly toxic to work with this crap. But so they have FDM printers which use filaments and PLA, like plastic or something. So, or resin, whatever it is. So they had a sale recently on Amazon, so I told him to get one, and now he's got that baby fired up and running, and it's looking great. Because years ago when I got my resin printer, the technology, like if you're trying to do any sort of fine detail miniatures, you have to use a resin printer. Nowadays, I still think if you're doing infantrymen or something, you're going to need to use the resin printer, but the quality on the FDM printers is astonishing. Like he showed me some of the stuff he did recently. I was very impressed. So he got a Bamboo A1 in case anyone's wondering. From the research I did, that seemed to be like the #1 recommended from all the mini guys that use FDM printers nowadays. So they're perfect, but the file quality, yeah, that's the other thing is you need to find good files as well, STL files. And some files only work or are like more set up for resin, and some files are more FDM printer friendly. That's why it's always important to look at the descriptions and stuff for the files from the creators. Like, for instance, recently today I printed 2 M3 Scout cars, which are wheeled armored infantry transport that the U.S. Army used in like the mid 40s during World War II. And the prints, the guy mentions how they work for both FDM and STL. I mean, FDM and resin. So it definitely pays to find the right ones, or just, do a little extra research. Got your fly in the mail? Hey, no problem, Jen. Thank you as always, my friend. Hey there, Kin Louise. No problem. Love fly fishing. Hell yeah, Kin Louise. What sort of fly fishing do you do? Sorry, I almost missed you there. We're always glad to have some new fly fishers or fly tires in the chat. So we're pretty much just V-tying. That's all this fly is, with the estaz wrapped in between. Just give us a little pizzazz. You know what I mean? Well, I couldn't help it. We started talking about Chinese food. Now I'm getting hungry, but we have a fresh cut up pineapple downstairs. That's what I'm going to go to town on after the stream tonight. I've been loving just summertime. Just all year, I got to eat fresh fruits. But I try not to eat too many sweets in general. Like, I used to love eating ice cream back in the day, and I stopped all that. So, like, fresh fruits, man, so good. And my favorite, which we've been getting a lot recently, it's a pain because you got to work for it. Fruits you got to work for, they got to be worth it, right? Like, an orange is easy enough to peel. But what I love is kiwis. Dude, I love kiwis. But you got to use like an actual fruit peeler. Peel that thing. You're trying not to get the hairs on it and stuff. But I'm a sucker for like really tart. I don't like something that's too sweet. I like nice, kind of more sour, tart fruits. And, dude, I've been just loving kiwis. They're so refreshing to eat during the summer. That and watermelon. I mean, how can you go wrong with watermelon in the summertime? But yeah, I love eating fresh fruit. Definitely a sucker for some good fruits. You don't just eat the whole thing, just bite into the kiwi. Oh boy. That's pretty wild. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I handed someone like a kiwi. Like, let's say we're out camping and I know someone's got a pocket knife, and I just watched them like peel an apple or something, and I'm like, all right, cool. Hey, here's a kiwi too. And I just watched somebody take a bite out of the kiwi. I'd be like, oh, okay, I gotta keep my eye on this dude. You swirl a spoon around after cutting it in half. Easy. Oh, is that the forbidden technique that I forgot about from as a kid? I mean, now when you use like a carrot peeler, you're not wasting any. So I don't want to waste. I'm trying to eat as much of that kiwi as possible. But I'm going to have to try the forbidden technique. You're talking about the crouching tiger spoon technique. Yep. Okay. I don't remember if that sounds like we're eating grapefruit now, to be honest with you, which I know Rev loves, but loves grapefruits. I haven't had grapefruits in a while. For a while, I was on a grapefruit kick, because grapefruits are just good for you in general. And of course, we're talking sour tart stuff. But eating a grapefruit, you got to watch out. It's like eating a juice box in a fruit. It's like the amount of liquid in a grapefruit. You'll go at that thing with a spoon, and it'll hit you in the eye, with like acidic fruit juice. It's apparently fine to eat them whole, though. That's absolutely wild. The eating of the hair of the kiwi. I mean, you know what? Maybe I should try it. But I feel like those hairs, though, I'm not a fan of not a fan of them, so I'm sure you can eat it. Like, I'm sure you could probably even just eat you could probably just eat a banana, right? Like I've seen people eat a banana without peeling it before as like a joke or something. But I don't know if it's the preferred way. So I say you don't tie any flies, King Louis. But what sort of fish do you normally fly fish for? Let me make sure I didn't miss if I missed your response. No, I haven't been doing any fishing, Brandon. It's a good excuse. I got to get out and test these out because apparently there's a really good sand flea bite right now, mole crabs in the surf. But I'm gonna be honest with you, like I was super stoked. I was hoping to fix my boat. Had a decent amount of money from rooster fish, but then like this and that, I was waiting to get paid from other stuff. Wasn't happening. I ended up, just slowly paying my bills and whatnot. And like, I just want to fix my boat so bad and go fish from there. It's tough to fish from shore now after having a boat for like 2-3 years. You know what I mean? And like, being stuck in one area essentially. But last time I went fishing was in June. Uh, Mid-June or something like that, and I went out to Block Island with one of my customers in his boat off Montauk and caught my new personal best fish on the fly. So last time we fished, we did pretty good. So we caught a bunch of nice big fish on the fly on the surface out in Block Island. But I got to get out and do some fishing. I'm kind of waiting for this time of year it's tough. The inshore fishing really sucks because the water temps rise. We have like algae blooms in the back bay and the oxygen levels are lower. You can still fish, but like my local little honey hole down here I didn't catch a single fish all year down here. So I had a really rough start. I had some decent fishing in April in other areas, but I didn't catch a single fish in my area that I normally fish. I've been catching fish walking from my house for the past 15 years. Didn't catch a single fish this year. And didn't catch an entire fish in April. So it's been a kind of interesting year. Uh, you know, and the previous past year or two, the inshore fishing has not been very good for me. So I don't know. I haven't been very motivated. But I'm gonna go hit the surf probably on Monday because I'm assuming there's just gonna be a ton of people over the weekend. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna test these out. I should probably go and start fishing the surf a little bit. Get out. Trout. You haven't been in a while. Gotcha. Hey, Ducky. Hello. How you doing? Remember the ancient cucumber Victor ate? I don't know. We had a friend who, what the hell is this? We had a friend who, is Peruvian. And, I watched that mother lover eat some really crazy stuff, like old stuff and stuff like that. And, yeah, I'm sure he ate an ancient cucumber. It sounds familiar, but I don't remember. I probably blocked it out from my mind. Very unrecognizable, yeah. Hopefully I wasn't there for that. Hold on, I'm just looking at this right here. This is freaking me out a little bit. Because that kind of looks like, almost like... Could that be poison ivy? No way, right? Recently I found some poison ivy. By the way, I'm highly allergic to it. Found some in the front of my house. Put on rubber gloves. Used a freaking plastic shopping bag. Flipped it inside out and pulled it out of the ground. And like made sure I got the roots and everything. But I don't I feel like I would have seen signs of it, and I don't think I got it, but this is kind of like oddly strange right here, this sort of thing. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit. I'm gonna go wash my hands real quick just because I'm like the level of paranoia that I have when it comes to poison ivy is so high that you guys probably. I'm so highly allergic to it that I've developed. I could literally spot it as we're driving down the highway and we're doing 70 miles an hour. I could spot poison ivy growing on the side of the road. That's how psychotic I am with it. So I'm just gonna wash my hands really good, just for my mental sake, real quick, and then I'll be back in a sec. Yeah, just cut the whole finger off. I might do it. Yeah, that's very strange. I don't think it's poison ivy, but I don't know what else that could be. So, better be safe than sorry. I mean, that's kind of freaking me out a little bit, but we'll be all right. I've gotten it, I mean, Rev knows, I've gotten it so bad over the years. I like missed high school for a month. They came to the house to make sure that I was like okay. Because my parents are like, no, he's got really bad poison ivy. Like, that's ridiculous. He's got to come to school. So they came to the house and they looked at my face was swollen for like a month. My eyes were closed for like 2 weeks. And I was getting shots, to help it and taking medication. But it was so bad. And then I had it on then it went from my face to my legs and it was like in my blood, moving around and like, oh man, I've had it so bad sometimes where it was months and months and months. I had it once where I got it so bad here. Every now and then, if it really itches this area, and I think it's like in my blood system because I like cut a freaking root, got in there. I had this giant. Oh, dude, I don't even want to get into it. It was so bad. Oh man, so many terrible experiences. But so a little tip: you want to use something like Dawn dish soap. It doesn't matter what sort of poison ivy things you buy. The best thing is any sort of like Dawn especially is like it's oils you're dealing with. And the best way to think of it is you don't want to think of it as like olive oil. You want to think of it as grease. Poison ivy oil. The best way to think about it, if you've ever worked with old axle grease and you've gotten axle grease on your hands and you've tried to clean your hands with a rag, it's almost impossible. That's why you use that orange scrub stuff if you're a mechanic. It's really tough to get the oil off your hands. So you have to essentially kind of work it with a rag, and it's always you want to use cold water or warm. You don't want hot water because your pores open up. So the poison ivy oil will actually go into your skin. So I've like learned the master techniques, but I found a YouTube video. It was the most it was the best explanation I've ever seen, and he akined it to like axle grease, old motor like gear oil, and how that stuff can really be tough to get rid of. So it's a lot of like scrubbing with colder water and something like Dawn. You can use Technu and all these soaps that they sell for poison ivy, but really like some sort of Dawn dish soap. And you don't want to like roughly scrub it. You want to gently, but you got to work it. Like if you've ever like you took dirty axle grease and you put it on here and you tried cleaning it off, I mean it's really tough to get out of your pores. So just little tips, hopefully that's not it, but we'll see. I am gonna do that later though. We'll see. Hopefully not. And I'm sorry I missed Ducky. So I'm going on the Driftless in a couple of days. Do you have any fly suggestions I could tie? The Driftless. So the Driftless is a section in the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, I believe, where you can't use drift boats. So you have to walk. Man, I'm not a trout guy. This is where the rest of the trout folks can help tune in. But I would say obviously some woolly buggers because trout. Probably some sort of dry flies. Maybe this time of year during the summer, is there crickets? I feel like because I've seen like photos of the driftless or videos, and isn't there like you're going through like potentially farmers' pastures where there's like fields and grass, so maybe some sort of hopper variations, I would say. Muddler minnows. You got to have muddler minnows for those sort of hopper type things or any sort of just good generic sculpin pattern type flies. Because there's probably little sculpins and juvenile trouts, stuff like that. And some sort of nymphs, some basic beadhead nymphs or something. But I don't know what you normally style of fishing you do. But I would bring some generic dry flies in some smaller sizes. I don't tie anything below a 14. I refuse. So I would bring 14s. And maybe some like hoppers and sculpins, like just your classic sort of searching trout flies that you might run across. Yeah, maybe call any fly shop in the area, look and see what hatches are going on. Again, I'm not a trout guy. Trout fishing is a whole nother ball game. The way I approach trout fishing, I always had one dry fly that was gray with rust. And even if there was something else, I would fish that. It usually worked because it was like presentation, but they can be specific. And I always fish streamers because I like fishing streamers. So I would fish tiny little like Mickey fins and stuff. That's how I like fishing for trout. But if you really want to get into it, and like when it comes to replicating bug hatches, it's like a whole different ball game, So always the best thing is to reach out to a local fly shop, like Craggle said. Yeah, hoppers are always good. I think hoppers are kick-ass flies, especially like a hopper dropper setups or something. I think I've told you before, but I was laid up for a week as a kid from poison ivy. Ever since then, my reaction to it has not been as severe. You think you developed an immunity? Well, I certainly haven't, because I had it terribly in high school, middle school, as a young adult, and then as an adult later on, deer hunting. I've gotten it terribly as well. So unfortunately, I still suffer from extremely bad poison ivy, poison sumac, poison oak. And I've had it in places you do not want to have it. Okay? Because we used to go out in the woods, we used to go out and puff it up a lot and go skateboarding and do all that stuff you do as a teenager, and you pee in the woods, and guess what? It's really bad. So I've had it the worst of the worst. I still think it's probably worse in your face and not being able to see, but it's pretty bad when it's in other spots as well. You know what I mean? So I use Fell's Naphtha soap. Naphtha. Okay, I'll have to check it out. I think the main thing is you got to use something that removes oils very well, and you need to approach it and scrub it properly and like use the right procedure and like decontaminate and all that, you know. So again, I don't know where this could have came from, and I feel like this should have popped up days ago if it was. I don't know what it is, but that's all good. All right. We got a good amount of these. Let's try another one. I feel like I'm getting ready for some pineapple here soon, but really what's going on is I'm kind of freaking out over it. It's funny, this tiny little thing right here. But that is looking kind of... Let's get a forensic expert in 1080p. It just kind of feels like it. It's got a very particular... I've trained myself not to itch, but it also kind of looks just... It's starting to look like poison ivy in early stages. It's kind of hard to see, but... Because it's little circles that you gotta look at. You see that? I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I burned myself or something I didn't even realize, or I don't know. But now I'm freaking out. Now mentally I'm like starting to itch on my face and stuff because I'm just thinking about it. It's terrible. It really gets to you mentally. Like I've been traumatized by poison ivy over the years. So now I'm starting to feel itchy even more because it's getting in my head. That's the terrible thing about it. You know what I mean? We kept a bar of it all the time in the truck while I was tree trimming. Yeah. I could never do something like that, dude. Yeah, now I'm like, now I'm freaking out in my head. It's crazy how, like, much of a, what do you call it? How, like, much of a psychological impact it's had on me from the experiences over the years. On how, like, I will, if I, like, see it, poison ivy at times, and I think I've, like, potentially touched it, I feel, like, itchy. Because it's, like, it's definitely all in my head, because I end up not getting it, but so many times it happens, and then I'm, like, I start feeling it, like, oh my god, did I get it? Like, oh no. It's crazy how, like, your mind can trick you or something, essentially. There's been many times where I think I've gotten it and I never did, but I was just freaking out, like, and it was probably just making it up in my head because I was so paranoid. Brain's a crazy thing. Do any freshwater fishing? How's it going, Outlaw? From time to time. Generally during the winter, when the saltwater fish have migrated out, we'll go do some pickerel fishing or something. Or this year I went with Mark Sadati. We went and caught some largemouth that were eating, like, herring that came into the ponds. So I'll do some freshwater fishing from time to time. I actually did the most this year than I've done in years. Forgot I went fishing with Mark for those largemouth on those herring, but yeah, I usually just stick to saltwater because I live on Long Island. I'm completely surrounded by saltwater, so we have some like the best striper fishing around, so it's a lot easier to be like, well, I'm gonna go fish for big stripers than, do some largemouth fishing or something. But I do enjoy freshwater fishing. And there is some trout fishing I've done in the past on stream. There's a couple trout streams on Long Island. But there's not a lot of it. There's definitely way more saltwater here on Long Island than there is freshwater. But oh yeah, I like both. But if I had to choose one, I would choose my 21 Steiger and fishing in the ocean for stripers, That's just what I like more. Give me some good old inshore or offshore striper fishing or something. That's where I'm most at home. Glad to see another fly tire on here. I'm a guide in Idaho, so I know nothing about salt. Oh, awesome, dude. Very cool. How long you been guiding for? So what you guide in Idaho for obviously trout, right? What is the Snake River in Idaho? I think. The famous one. But hell yeah, dude, that's awesome. That's something in the future I would love to get my captain's license and start guiding from a boat, but it's something for the future. But that's what a lot of my buddies do and a lot of my customers do are guides, so I work with a lot of guides over the years and still do. Yeah, I always forget you guys have steelhead up there. I always forget about that. And even salmon. Are those like Great Lakes fish or something? Are you connected, or are they west? Like, where are those fish coming from? My geography is right. I'm trying to remember. You're not, you're kind of up north somewhere in the middle, right? Kind of a little bit more to the west. Let's take a look on the map. Are they coming from big, hunting guide? Oh, what are you hunting with, what are you hunting, elk or mule deer? You get any trad bow guys up there with recurves? Yeah, oh, so you are pretty close. So you guys know. Idaho. So what, are you getting your fish from up in Canada or something? Where are these fish coming from? Yes, Jay. I gotta edit them. I've been busy, unfortunately. I'm gonna try and get around to it. I should probably do that this weekend. I've been so freaking busy doing all sorts of stuff. They come off to Columbia, huh? Interesting. Yeah, I mean, because you're pretty far inland, right? So, it's wild. How you been doing, Jay? Thank you for reminding me, by the way. I'll try and get one of them done this weekend. I should do like the rabbit strip jiggy or something. The Clearwater. Okay, I don't know too much about there. That's interesting. I remember seeing something. I'm like, where the hell are they getting salmon from up in Idaho? Yeah, interesting. Fishing's been slow. Yeah. Apparently, it's heating up in the ocean right on the beaches. There's mole crabs, so that's what we've been doing, tying these suckers. But yeah, what do you call it? I'm gonna have to get out there and try and do some fishing. I don't know about this weekend. I think maybe Monday or something. I'm gonna go after the crowds subside. You know what I mean? All right. Well, now I'm thoroughly freaked out about poison ivy, so I'm gonna have to spend like 10 minutes scrubbing the hell out of this stuff. But yeah, the jury's out, but it is kind of looking kind of poison ivy-ish. Really, what's going on is it's itchy and it's kind of like a boil almost, you know, and that's where the worry comes from. So the real test will be like what it'll be like tomorrow, and whether or not it'll be somewhere else. But now I'm like mentally freaking out. Rubbing alcohol, yeah, I've done that before. That it super dried out my skin. I'm highly allergic to it, so I have my ways of dealing with it, but I just got to be very careful. I took a shower and everything and earlier today, but so I'm probably not going to take another one, but I'm half tempted to. Were those tarpon spotted near you? I'm assuming they weren't that far away. I think the person who caught the name of it, or the name of the Instagram account, how's it going, Splitters, by the way? Apparently there were two. You think it's a mosquito bite? I don't know. We'll see. Apparently there were two tarpon, pretty big ones, spotted in the bay recently, and within casting range. Now that could have been in the ocean or it could have been the bay. I forgot what they said, but the name of the account was North Sea Fish Outdoors or something like that, and that's an area that's not too far from me, so in the general vicinity. So they probably were very close. Yes. And it's not the first time. 10 years ago, something like that, you know, we heard rumors of tarpon from the guys that go clamming. So, and that have commercial nets out here that do the pound trap nets, where at low tide you can go and see what the fish are and throw the ones you don't want back. There were rumors of tarpon from the commercial guys, so it's pretty cool to see like confirmed footage of pretty big tarpon in Long Island. So, I mean, you never know, dude. Maybe 20 years from now, we'll be actually having like redfish and tarpon in Long Island. You know what I mean? There's a very good chance. Yeah, I'm pretty certain there was a tarpon caught in Rhode Island, and there's apparently they're like seeing them somewhat consistently during in like New Jersey-ish or right below New Jersey, maybe in Delaware or something. I don't know, but and there's cobia being caught quite regularly in the surf now off Long Island. So there's a lot of like exotic species that are showing up, especially this time of year. It's like the peak, and that also means there's a ton of like rays and skates and sharks as well. So something to think about while swimming. There's a lot of sharks around right now, like a crazy amount, because this is the time of year where a lot of things are coming up from the Gulf streams and stuff, and the temperatures are right for a lot of these like more exotic fish that we normally don't see up north. So, all right, well, chat, I hope you guys had a good time watching me tie some old crab flies and whatnot. What do you call it? Thank you for reminding me, Jay. I'm gonna maybe get started on that tonight, or if not, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm gonna try and at least get one Sadati video done. The other thing is I need to record a video for Sunday for my channel, so it's probably gonna be this fly. I'm gonna have in detail how to tie the mole crab, but you can see in the back I've been working on all sorts of stuff. So I've just been pretty much tying for shops and guides right now, so I've just been getting as much fly tying done as I can so I can make money. You know what I mean, to pay my bills and all that. But speaking of paying my bills, Rev, thank you so much again for the 14 months, brother. Much appreciated, friend. Very, very kind of you. Give it up. But thank you so much, everybody, hanging out. I hope you guys had an awesome time watching. If you're new to the channel, you can either follow on Twitch or you could subscribe on YouTube. Both are free. Now you can check out the stream in the future. we're probably gonna have the mole crab. I know I said it, but I finally got the materials, so I gotta bite my lip and just record it and get it done. Cause what do you call it? I gotta keep pumping out YouTube videos. So we got the mole crab will be next. I gotta do the Sadati video for his channel as well. And yeah, keep on cranking on. So, but hey, Supra, hell yeah, brother. Thanks, yo, thanks for tuning in, man. I hope everything's been going good. So, thank you so much, Jin, Rev, Jay, Supra, Splitters, Kin Louie, Outlaw. Thanks for tuning in, dude. I hope you, we'll see you again sometime. It's always nice to have a guide in here. Jim, I hope you're doing good, Jim. Everything's going well out there. Ducky as well. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out and watching. So have an awesome weekend, all right? Get out there, hit the surf, try and catch some striped bass on mole crab flies. That's the word, so. But enjoy the weather and everything, and I'm going to go wash this with Dawn soap and scrub it 30 times and, convince myself that it's not poison ivy, hopefully, but still be cautious. So, anyways, thank you so much, chat. We'll see you guys. Have an awesome weekend, and you guys stay safe, all right? We'll see you next week for another stream, either Friday or earlier, okay? So, all right, peace.